Welcome back. This is episode 310. Roth accounts are all the rage lately. And you've probably heard myself and other financial professionals, even other YouTubers and podcasters talking about the benefits of contributing to Roth accounts or even the benefits of converting pre-tax retirement accounts over to Roths. And this can be a good idea for many. However, often overlooked are the tax benefits of just a simple after-tax brokerage account. In this episode, I'm going to discuss the tax benefits and features of a taxable brokerage account and how you can pay 0% capital gains tax on investments inside your taxable brokerage account, just like a Roth account. If you haven't already done so and you're watching on my YouTube channel, make sure that you click the subscribe button below. Or if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, many of your favorite podcast apps also allow you to subscribe to my podcast or follow my episodes. And as a special thank you to all my listeners, I'm giving away a free copy of my book, my amazing book called Fiduciary. In it, I talk about how to find the ideal financial advisor, how to interview advisors, what questions to ask to make sure you're getting a true fiduciary advisor. I also give you many helpful tips about planning your retirement, managing taxes, setting up your investment portfolio, what insurance coverages you might need, and even we discuss possible estate planning. To download a free copy, head over to retirewithryan.com, and on my homepage, you will see at the top where you can download a free electronic version of my book. As I mentioned earlier, Roth accounts are all the rage right now. And everyone, maybe even including your Uber driver, could be talking to you about the tax benefits and potential tax savings of converting pre-tax retirement accounts to a Roth IRA. And this can certainly be beneficial to those who believe they will be in a higher tax bracket in the future and don't need income now from their retirement accounts. But if you're not familiar with a taxable brokerage account, there could be tax benefits with that as well that maybe you're overlooking. So that's what I want to discuss in this episode. And you could be overlooking these benefits as far as what the tax savings could be. So let me ask you, if I asked you, did you know that you could potentially pay 0% capital gains tax on investments that you have inside of a taxable brokerage account? If you answered no, you don't know, then this episode is for you. If you answered yes, then maybe you can move on to something else. But if you're not aware of how that happens and how that can benefit you, then you'll want to watch this episode. So first off, what is a Roth IRA? So if you're not familiar with a Roth IRA, it's an individual retirement account that's funded with post-tax money, meaning you've already paid taxes on the money that you've earned before it goes into your Roth account. In that Roth account, you can invest in stocks, mutual funds, bonds, almost an unlimited amount of investments. But the benefit of the Roth is that any growth on the investments that you make, they are tax deferred, meaning you don't have to pay tax on those capital gains, dividends, or interest you're receiving. They're tax deferred. And when you take the money out of your Roth IRA, it's also going to be tax free. So basically, once you contribute money into a Roth IRA, it will never be taxed again. And that's why everyone is talking about getting more money into Roth accounts, because we're all worried that tax rates are going to be going up in the future. Like during my lifetime, tax rates have only gone down, but we do owe a lot of money as a country, and everyone is worried we're going to see higher tax rates in the future. However, there are limitations with Roth IRAs. Probably the biggest limitation is that to take money out of a Roth IRA, to take out your gains, you have to be at least 59 and a half years of age. So you have to be close to retiring, and you have to have had your account open for at least 5 years. And if you don't do that, then you could potentially trigger a 10% penalty on your gains, and there could also be taxes owed on your gains. You also can't borrow from a Roth IRA. So if you wanted to borrow against your Roth account to buy a property or to loan money to your children, you can't do that. You have to take out distributions. And once you take it out, you can only put it back through other Roth conversions or other contributions. So that is somewhat limiting. You also can't do tax loss harvesting. What do I mean by that? Let's say you buy shares in a stock and that stock goes down. You can't sell that stock and take a tax loss and then take a deduction on your income tax return. And that is something you could do in a brokerage account. Additionally, when a non-spouse inherits your Roth IRA, such as a child, they must fully liquidate your Roth account within 10 years. So that means that only for 10 years after your passing, they can't keep that account going. Or I should say, they can keep that account going, but they potentially have to take out distributions every year. And by the end of the 10th year after you die, that account has to be zeroed out. So all that tax deferral that's been going on will be gone, and those investments are now taxable going forward, right? They're not taxable when they first go to them, but they're taxable going forward. So those are some of the limitations of a Roth. So let's talk about now what a taxable brokerage account is. So it's an investment account where you buy mutual funds, stocks, bonds, any investment, and you're doing it outside of a retirement account. It's also sometimes referred to as a non-qualified account. And you can open it in any major brokerage, company, right? Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, right? Any of the big ones we've talked about. But there are some limitations to brokerage accounts and really why they are often overlooked and why people kind of look down upon them as a good way to save for retirement. And these limitations are really all tax related. So any capital gains that you realize in a brokerage account are reported annually and will be taxed. That means if you sell a stock or a mutual fund for a profit, you will have to pay either a short-term capital gain on that sale, that profit, or a long-term capital gain depending on how long you owned that investment. If you own that investment more than a year, it's a long-term gain. If you own it less than a year, it's a short-term gain. And short-term gains are taxed as ordinary income. So whatever your other earned income is for the year, you add that short-term gain on top of that, and that determines what your taxes are, ordinary income. Whereas if it's a long-term gain, that's taxed at potentially a much lower rate for most people. Additionally, any dividends or interest you receive in your taxable brokerage account is also taxed at every year. Interest is taxed as ordinary income, and dividends, if they are considered qualified dividends, which many stocks are, they are taxed the same rate as long-term capital gains rate. So this is different than a Roth IRA, whereas within the Roth IRA, everything is tax deferred, and provided you've had the account open for 5 years, you wait until you're 59 and a half, your gains are tax-free. So that probably begs the question, why am I even talking about this, right? Well, there is a way that you can make your taxable brokerage account work much more like a Roth IRA, meaning that there will be no tax due on the growth in your investments and no tax due when you take withdrawals, when you liquidate the investments. Now, you might be thinking, what's the magic here? Is there some secret that I don't know about? No, there's no secret. There's no magic. You just need to understand the rules so that you can actually follow a transaction that benefits from this. So first of all, let's talk about how there can be no tax on your growth inside of your brokerage account. Well, that is based on the type of investments that you choose for your taxable investment brokerage account. If you own growth stocks and those stocks don't pay a dividend, then there will be no growth that will be taxed while you own these stocks. Those gains will be deferred until you sell them. So let's say you bought shares of Tesla years ago, and now you have a $100,000 capital gain in your Tesla stock. Well, until you sell your shares of Tesla, that capital gain is not taxed. We currently don't have a tax system that taxes unrealized gains. I know that is something that's being talked about. You hear members of Congress talking about taxing unrealized gains, but currently that's not the case. So your gains aren't taxed until they're realized. So that means if Tesla doesn't pay dividends, there's also no dividends you're paying taxes on. And this is just like owning an investment inside of your Roth account, right? Inside of the Roth account, everything's tax deferred. Same thing with the growth stock. It's essentially tax deferred until when you liquidate it. However, if instead of buying a growth stock, you bought shares in AT&T, for example, AT&T is a dividend-paying stock, doesn't really grow at all, but pays a consistent dividend. The annual dividend yield is 4.8%. So that 4.8% per year, about $1.12 per share, you'd get in your brokerage account, which is great. You're getting income, but surprise, you've got to pay tax on that every year. So that's going to reduce your return on that investment because that full amount is not compounding for you. You're losing some money every year to taxation. However, owning individual stocks can be risky. It can be time consuming, and you could underperform the overall stock market. I've talked in past episodes about, using index funds, right? Well, that could be a better option for you inside your taxable brokerage account. Why not buy an index fund? What about something like an S&P 500 index fund? State Street is a leader in ETFs. They have an S&P 500 index fund that's SPYM. That's their State Street Spider S&P 500 ETF, and it has very low cost. It pays an annual dividend of 1.04%, so a lot less than the AT&T dividend, about 88 cents per share. So that would mean only that 88 cents per share would be taxed on an annual basis if you invested money into this ETF. So the majority of the gain would be tax deferred. Most of the gain in the S&P 500 is really from just the increase in value of the stocks inside the index, not the dividend. So this would be very close to the taxation of a Roth IRA. Now, there are many other index funds you could buy as well. You could buy a small cap index fund. You could buy a mid cap. You could buy an international. You could buy a total stock market index fund. It all depends on how you want to set up your portfolio, but most of those index funds pay very little dividends unless you bought an index fund that's tracking dividend paying stocks. Then you're going to obviously have a lot more taxation. Now, however, this is key. One thing you want to avoid is open-end mutual funds. Those are traditional mutual funds, not ETFs, not exchange-traded funds. These generally generate capital gains every year because of the way they're structured, because of the turnover. These are the worst thing that you could own inside of a taxable brokerage account, because that means every year you're going to be most likely getting a capital gain distribution. You're going to be paying tax on that. And that's going to really reduce your long-term growth because you're going to be losing money every year to taxation. So you'd want to either own individual stocks that were growth-oriented, or own some type of index fund that's going to pay a minimal amount of capital gain, hopefully zero, which most ETFs do, and also have very little dividend. So on to the second part, no tax on the capital gains. So how do you do that? Well, this can be accomplished through your brokerage account also, just like a Roth IRA. However, you need to keep your capital gains underneath a certain income threshold depending on the year and whether you file as single filer or married filing jointly. So say, for example, you're a single filer, your taxable income, including capital gains, would need to be below $50,400 in 2026 for you to pay 0% capital gains tax. And I should say long-term capital gains. Short-term, that's going to be ordinary income. If you're a married filing jointly filer, then your taxable income would need to be double that amount, $100,800 to pay 0% capital gains tax. So these essentially are the limits of the 12% income tax bracket. Once you go over that bracket, now you're into the 22% income tax bracket, and that's where your long-term capital gains and dividends could be taxed at 15%. But anything below that is 0%. That's what we're trying to shoot for. However, if your taxable income, you got to realize that your taxable income is also calculated after the standard deduction. And the standard deduction for a single filer is $16,100, and it's double that, $32,200 for a married couple filing jointly. Also, this year and for the next 2 years until the end of 2028, if you're over 65 and your income is under $150,000 for a married couple filing jointly, or $75,000 for a single filer, you get an additional $6,000 enhanced senior deduction. So say, for example, you're 62, you sold stock in Tesla for a gain of $66,000 this year, and that was your only income for the year. You would take the capital gain of $66,000 minus the standard deduction of $16,100, and that would leave you with taxable income of $49,900. So all of your capital gain is currently in the 12% tax bracket or lower. That means you would pay 0% federal income tax. That is how you pay 0% income tax on capital gains inside a brokerage account. If you're married filing jointly, you could double the amount of that gain because essentially everything is double for the income tax brackets and the standard deduction. That means you could have a long-term capital gain of up to $133,000 and pay 0% federal tax. This is for a couple that files married filing jointly. If both you and your spouse are over 65, add another $12,000 to that number for the next 3 years. Now, this sounds easy, right? You just realize the capital gain pays 0% tax. Well, what could mess this up? Well, other income in that same tax year will mess this up. Why is that? Because if you're collecting Social Security, a pension, or you're taking taxable IRA distributions, that income first gets added to your taxable income, and then your capital gains or dividends sit on top of that. So if that income eats up the 12% bracket, well, you're out of luck. You don't have any capital gains that will be taxed at zero. So say, for example, you and your spouse take IRA distributions of $70,000. Well, that $70,000 would reduce the amount of your capital gains that could be taxed at 0%. So you only have $73,000 left over, based on my prior example, that you could actually pay 0% capital gains on. Anything above that, it's not horrible, but it will be taxed at 15%. I'm sure you'd much rather pay tax of 0 than 15%. So you also have to keep in mind, unfortunately, that there are many states where maybe you live, like my home state of Connecticut, that have state income tax, and many of those states will tax your capital gain at a state income tax rate. So the only way to avoid that is to move to a state without state income tax. So there you have it. That is how you pay 0% tax on your brokerage account, just like a Roth. You set up investments that pay very little dividends, are focused more on long-term growth, and you wait to realize your capital gains until you have very little income, or at least enough income that you could still have those capital gains be in the 0% bracket. Now, there are additional benefits of brokerage accounts that are offered possibly that Roths don't. I mentioned one of those earlier about how you can borrow against the account. Another one is that when you pass away, your Roth IRA, as I said before, has to be emptied out within 10 years. That's not the case for a brokerage account. Currently, when you pass away, whoever you leave your brokerage account, whether it be a spouse or a child, a grandchild, they get what's known as a step up in cost basis. Whatever your investments are worth the day that you die, that is their new cost basis going forward to determine any capital gains that they owe. So if then they sold that account shortly thereafter, there would be 0% capital gains and taxes, just like a Roth account. Or if instead they held that account for a long term, they would then potentially be able to also pay long-term capital gains rates on that account at 0%. That is not the case with a Roth. A Roth IRA eventually will be emptied within that 10-year window, and then you have to figure out what to do with the money after. Now, you certainly could take that and then put it in a taxable brokerage account and do the same thing we're talking about, but there is some work involved in that. So that's why these taxable brokerage accounts can be so powerful if you know how to manage them. If you set them up with the correct investments, if you manage them properly, and then you strategize about how you take the money out when you're going to be using the money, presumably for retirement, right? This is a podcast about retirement, about paying less taxes in retirement, and that's how you do it. You also can borrow against a taxable brokerage account and either, you'll pay some type of interest rate, but any loans you take against the account are not taxable, and then therefore you're not realizing any capital gains. So that is another strategy some people use. In addition to the 0%, they borrow against these investments and assets, and they pay no tax by doing that. So if you're investing in a taxable brokerage account, make sure you choose the right investments. You monitor your account, try to minimize turnover, and then strategize about how you're going to take the money out to pay 0% tax. So I hope you found this episode helpful. And if you have any questions you'd like to have considered for a future episode, head over to retirewithryan.com and click on Ask a Question. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday. Take care.